Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my Master Your Marketing Masterclass. And in my hot seat today, I have Desiree Stafford, and I'm super excited to share her with you today because we're going to talk about something that some clients of ours don't necessarily want to talk about, and that's the high ticket sales. And it's a fun place to play. She is a business mentor and a mindset coach. So the mindset part, you're going to get a lot today. So welcome to the stage, Miss Desiree. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. I'm going to dive right in and go, so why are you a coach? Tell us your story. How'd you get into this industry? So kind of walk us through the once upon a time.
My story's kind of funny, and and it takes different turns, so I'll do my best to keep it kind of streamlined. Okay. But I became a coach because I've been in business for maybe 12 years or so, right? I have real estate background, so I was doing investment properties and landlording, which I hated, and I still do that today. And I also had a 7-figure real estate redevelopment company. And that was like my big pride and joy. That was like the business that made me feel like I made it. But we only survived for 2 years. And then we closed the business. My partner went on and he stayed in real estate and he did amazing things. And I tucked my tail in defeat and I went back to the corporate world. And it literally broke my heart because I gave up on my dream. I gave up on myself. I didn't think that I was cut out to be an entrepreneur. And it was stifling to be back in corporate America after you've been out on your own, make your own money, right? So that's what I was kind of hiding in that place, just like not knowing what my next move was. And my mother is the one who called me up one day. She's like, you should be, she told me at the time, a life coach, because she's like, you like to tell people what to do. I'm like, what? But I started to look into it and I was like, I don't know that that's really the direction I want to go in, but it stayed in the back of my head. And then I had, by chance, gotten invited to an event that I went to, and it was all about like motivational, personal development type stuff. And I was like, this is my world. I found my people. This is what I really want to do. So then I started I took a certification in coaching and things like that, and then switched my angle to business because I love business. I love teaching women or helping women make more money. And it just kind of, worked together. And there was a part of me that knew that had I had a coach when I was with my previous business partner, that either the business would not have failed like it did, or I would not have gone back to corporate. Right? If I had that kind of support, and I knew that that's the kind of support that I wanted to be to other women.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. I too, I've done the back and forth in my entrepreneur role, back in corporate in my entrepreneur role. It's kind of like a resting place. Yeah. And I had the exact same revolution because I started working for a global business coaching company after my business tanked here in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. It was a startup company. And you learn everything. Hindsight's 2020. You're like, if I just would have had a business coach or someone to guide me through the process, we wouldn't have been, scattered and losing money right and left. And
right. Yeah. Because it can feel scary, right?
Absolutely.
Especially if online world is different than offline, first of all, right? Completely different.
Absolutely.
And you're selling, your unique service versus a house or someone else's product or widget, right? So it's a different experience. And I don't think a lot of people are mentally prepared for the setbacks and all the kind of stuff that we have to go through when we make that transition online. So I definitely think that having someone in your corner helping you stay focused is what not only keeps people in the game, but is what allows people to step to the next level and experience the success that they're after.
Absolutely. And it is. I remember the first time I hired my first online mentor, it was like you could just breathe, the calm. Yeah. She just took the chaos away. And I knew, okay, I just need to follow these steps. All that other crap in my brain can go away and I can just stay focused. Yeah. They really calm the chaos, coaches do. Yeah. I agree 100%. So you, like me, work with women mostly. That's your tribe. And we do business different, and I try to explain that to a man and you can't. They get offended and they take their ego and run. But we do business differently. But, when you take someone to the next level, what's the biggest challenge you're seeing and how do you help your women? Because I get a lot of clients too. I'm stuck. This is the most I've ever made. Now what? How do I get to that next level?
Yeah. To be honest with you, it's fear. That's always the biggest challenge. And oftentimes, there are stories that my clients are telling themselves that are keeping them in this place where they're stuck. And it's really having the courage to face it, right? Because if you don't have the courage, you can spin your wheels for a really long time, right? You can make money, but then you have other things going on behind the scenes that don't allow you to get to the level that you really desire to get to. You know, I recently signed a client about 6 weeks ago, who had been following me for a long time, and she had made it to 6 figures, but she was trying to get herself to the next level. 500,000 is what she wanted to do, and she couldn't get there. And she tried over and over and over again. And I totally can understand where she was at, because it's not just about knowing what to do, right? I mean, you could read a book, you can get on Google or whatever, you can watch live streams or what have you, and you can hear the strategy. But if you don't have the right mindset, right? Even if you have all the pieces, if you don't have the right mindset, you will not be able to get to the next level, right? And that's what I see happen with so many women, especially when it comes to money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times, you know, being able to receive more puts us in this really powerful position that many women are not afraid or are afraid of really stepping into, right? And so there's a lot of times when I'm talking to a client and they'll have these they're conscious of certain goals that they have for themselves, but they're like, why can't I get them? I'm like, well, I can tell you why you're not getting there, right? I hear the story that you don't hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's for me, like when I share it with them, I'm like, well, you said you want this, but you also said this. There's a gap here. And when we explore that gap is when we see what the fear is, what that story is, the old programming that's there, so we can shift them through it. But if you're not aware of it, you can't shift through it.
Right. Definitely. Awareness is number one. It's true. I like what you said. It's the receiving more. We all want more, but the receiving more, sometimes our receiving button is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like you can't even receive a compliment, but you want to make more money.
Right. Yeah.
It's amazing. And women have that challenge too. Very much so.
Big time. And I also want to rephrase something here. I said mindset, but I also want to shift it a little bit, because most people think of mindset as your thoughts and beliefs about a lot of things, right? When I focus with my women, it's really about shifting their concept of themselves, their thoughts and beliefs about themselves. That's really the key there, because listen, if you want to make $500,000, you want to make $1 million, it's fine. But if you don't see yourself as the person who can do that,
right,
even if you do get to the goal, you won't be able to sustain it. So your self-concept has to change.
Absolutely. I like to use the visual aid as, my clients are trying to reel in a really big fish, but the boat's got leaks in it. It's a leaky canoe. It's going to capsize once we pull in that fish. Like you said, they're not going to keep it. They'll find a way to sabotage it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love the self-development journey through business. I think business is a crash course in self-development. If you ever want to work on yourself, go into business, be an entrepreneur. You'll get more than you ever thought. But it's, it's a beautiful space because I think you build this armor to take on more as you grow. You just kind of can be more to have more, kind of a mindset too. But I love that you said changing the concept of who they are, because what we see on the outside is like this powerful woman. She could have anything she wants. She sees on the inside, broken, my husband left me, my dad beat me, all that little stupid stuff that beats a woman down, which just breaks my heart. That's what they see when they look in the mirror. I've had a client, I couldn't even get her to take pictures of herself. Drop dead gorgeous. I'm like, how can I brand you if you can't get in front of the camera? Right. So you have to go there. You have to go there. You can't coach without that mindset piece. So that self-development part, it's huge. So I'm curious, Desiree, what's your favorite, since we're playing in the marketing world, and I believe there's a lot of hidden gems out there that aren't playing in marketing at all. And they're just this golden person over here that's got gifts and abilities to give to the world, but you can't find them. What's your favorite marketing strategy to get clients?
Well, for me personally, I love webinars. Excuse me. And I'm also starting to love more videos and interviews like this. Because this is when I say personally, I want to share why I say that, because I believe any strategy can work. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. I took singing lessons yesterday. My voice is like saying,
Have fun. It's all good.
But the reason I say personally is because that's what I like to do. I also have clients who are knocking out of the park using other strategies. What's important is about making sure you find a strategy that you have the most affinity to, right? Something that you love to do, something that allows you to really come across and communicate in the way that you need to communicate to connect and resonate with your ideal clients. To me, that is the most important part. And also the self-concept, right? Making sure that you see yourself as, claiming your inner authority. Because if you don't do that, Doesn't matter what strategy you employ, you're not going to get the results that you desire. For me specifically, I love doing webinars. I love doing videos like this because it allows me, like, I'm not a person who can go off a script. As you can see, like, I look in all different directions because my mind is constantly thinking. And that's the way that I communicate most effectively. And that's why those strategies work for me.
Absolutely. I'm like you too. Speaking, teaching. Some people are gifted writers, and I am an author. So I love to write too, but I think it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And being on video, you can really get that I care about you feeling, or you can see the inflection in tone and facial expressions and body language that you can't get from a blog, you know, or just content writing. So you've got it. I love that you said, you know, going inward and really figuring out what that inner authority is. That's so much fun. Oh gosh, it's like the director in the director chair.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not an actress in this play. I'm the director, damn it. And really figuring that out, because honestly, and I've worked with so many clients, I've been coaching for the last 12 years, but playing in business since 2009. Okay. And the fun part is you have to point it out. No strategy will work if you don't know what that inner authority is. So you might as well kiss it all goodbye until you go inward. You know, go inward before you go outward. I love that, because it's true. The mindset piece, all your strategies will fail if you really think that's what's going to happen. You think, oh, that didn't work for me.
And what I want to share also about that in terms of the strategy failing, like a lot of times, most of the times, a client will come to me, they're attracting clients who can't afford, prospects who can't afford it. And they're frustrated. You know, they're filling up their calendar, like they know what to do to attract leads, but they're talking to people who tell them no, or they need to think about it. They don't have the cash, whatever the case may be. And again, that starts with the game that they're playing on the inside, right? Because everything is stemming from us. So if you're believing that people can't afford your fees, if you're believing that people aren't going to have the time to invest, to get the results out of your program, things like that, you're going to reflect that back to you. Right? Even if you sign the client, you're still going to reflect that back to you. So for me, when we talk about marketing, everything is related. Who the woman is being communicated through all of her marketing, which is why the strategy to me is here nor there, right? Any strategy can give you leads. Yeah. Any strategy can bring you results if, like we just talked about, you do claim that inner authority and you address all of the thoughts that you're thinking that are getting you the results that you are currently not happy with.
Good stuff. I'm going to be vulnerable and share something. I recently did a 6-month program out of the goodness of my heart, because my coach wanted me to do something kind of like give her audience some extra input and advice on a particular marketing strategy. I didn't want to do it. I was doing it at a lower price. In my mind, I didn't have the time to do it. And wouldn't you know, everyone that signed on didn't have the time to do the program. Wow, what a coincidence. You know, it was like, oh, I'm kind of doing this as a favor. I don't want to do it. I don't have the time for another group to fit in with all my other groups. And it's shocking, about halfway through, you see people like, I can't find the time to do this. So it's a mirror, you know, that's what life is. It's like, so you've got to go, okay, what am I projecting out? Because I'm pulling that stuff in. So interesting. And that was very recent. I'm like, what a coincidence. You really tapped on that. Good stuff. So let's talk about those high-end offers. If people are thinking that no one can afford them and they're grabbing lots of leads and they might be charging this much, some low ticket price, I know, and this happens with me and my clients too, so I'm going to pick your brain on it. They immediately go, well, gosh, if I can't get this, how am I going to get this? So that's their first thought process. So how do you help women around switching into high ticket or even helping attract that?
Well, the first thing I do is really help them see the value of the result or the transformation that their clients are going to get. Because I think that is one of the areas where we fall down the most. Because when I help a client put together the right offer for their clients, right, and for themselves as well, we're looking at the unique combination of their gifts, skills, and talents, because we all have a unique combination, right? We might have similar gifts, skills, and talents, but there's a unique combination for us that is meant to help our specific ideal client and solve a burning problem for them. So that's the first thing, like really looking at that, but also understanding the outcome that your clients get and what that is really worth to them. And that's where most of my people get tripped up, because they'll look at their gifts and they'll think, well, if I help people, achieve X result, it doesn't take me that much time. So how can I charge more if I get it done in such little time? Then there's like all this guilt and shame associated with it, right? So I tell them to take the focus off of the time, off of the effort that they're putting into working with their clients, and actually look at the result. If you help someone lose 10 pounds that they've been trying to lose for 20 years, and that boosts their confidence, and then they get a promotion at work or they meet the love of their life, don't you think that might be worth more than what you're charging, right? And when they can see it from that place, it starts to shift. But also that goes in with their self-concept, like I said earlier, right? Because if you see yourself from a higher perspective or from a higher consciousness, to put it that way, if you see yourself from a higher consciousness, then it's easier for you to say, oh yeah, I get that. I can see that, right? Because it can't just be conscious for you. It also has to go through your subconscious, right? You have to start shifting your beliefs to be able to not only just see the value, but to be able to receive that financially, right? So those are the kind of things that we work on. And I'll be honest with you, it's not always overnight. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time. Like the client that I mentioned earlier who recently signed me, it took her 6 weeks to make her first 10K full pay sale, right? Yeah. Most of my clients are doing that within 30 days, but it took her a little bit longer. And this is a woman who was coming from 6 figures, right? But when we work on all of those things in conjunction with each other, it then creates the momentum that keeps the clients going further and further and further. Because I will tell you from my own personal experience, if we don't do all of the things that I just mentioned, like if you don't look at your unique combination of gifts, skills, and talents and own the value of that and own the value of the result that it gets for your clients, right? And then see yourself as a person who can receive at this level. If you don't do all of that, you will have this, right? And because I experienced it, I didn't understand how could I go and have like a 20 or 30K month and then I couldn't sell again for months at a time. I didn't understand it. And I get myself all the way back down to zero, right? And when I started seeing that pattern, I was like, wait a minute. And no one was talking about it. Like none of the people that I was working with like knew anything about that or knew how to help me get out of that. I had to take a whole step back. I'm like, what the
You can swear here.
I can't. Like, what the fuck, right?
The more spiritual you are, the more you swear, in my opinion.
But that's when I had to start figuring it out. I'm like, wait a minute, right? It's not just about creating that higher level offer. It's about really seeing the value that the clients are getting, owning that, and owning like who I am as a person, right? And that I do now see myself as a person who can receive at that level, right? And when I was able to do that for myself, and then I was able to show that to my clients, that's when they get consistent results, because that's the name of the game in my camp, right? It has to be consistent. I'm not interested in one-hit wonder, right? No one's really interested in that. Like nobody wants like to have these big money months and then you come crashing back down, because that's even more damaging to your self-confidence, right? Because then you start worrying, oh my gosh, I can't make this work. And you go right back into this like low place that doesn't serve you, right? So I hope I answered your question.
I love that. No, this is a perfect topic. The feast or famine roller coaster that we have. And like you said, it's not just damaging your confidence. It's also giving you a new money belief of there's never enough. And then there's too much. Then there's enough. And I better spend it before it's gone. And it just kind of keeps you in this rat race circle and actually creates more damaging money beliefs on top of it. And when you look at the pattern, where does that come from? Even myself, I'm always afraid, and I had to go deep too and say, someone stole from me when I was really little. It was like one of those steal from your piggy bank. So in my mind, that's where the belief was adopted, or something came along that lines of, if I make it, someone's just going to take it anyway. So it would squash down that feeling of, why make big money if someone's just going to come and steal it out of the account, or all of a sudden I'll have this bill that's huge. That just shows up and takes my money. So it's funny how that interestingly enough, it does show up in your adult life, and it showed up through my entire life. I could tell story after story. Yeah. But once you can kind of clear that and go, okay, there's more than enough. No one's going to take it. You're a good steward of this money, because you also start to feel bad when you've got this big money months and then you're back down to in the red again. You think, gosh, am I a really bad steward of money? Who am I to receive more if I don't know how to take care of what I get? So just so much. The money conversation is insane. And all by itself, you could spend months with a client on just that content, alone. But I love that part. Yeah. Consistency.
Yeah. What I actually picked up from what you said, and I love that story that you shared, was I find that when women are faced with having to receive more, because obviously if you want to achieve your goals faster and easier, then you're going to have to raise your fees. That is when it triggers those old thoughts and those old stories, like what you were just sharing with me. And oftentimes when they try to do it on their own, because listen, I've tried it all. I've tried to do it by myself, and I've tried it, and I've done it with mentors. And I will tell you, when I tried to do it on my own, there were a lot of stories that were holding me back that I couldn't even identify, right? Which is so important to have someone who is objective, and also someone who sees your vision, right, and holds you to it. Because I've had plenty of clients not be happy with me because they said, I want to make $20,000 cash in a month. And then, you know, when I would talk to them, they're like, okay, I think I can maybe do 5. I'm like, wait.
I know.
You know what I mean? And then I would push them, and then they would like freak out, and they're like, you know, I can't do this. I'm like, yeah, you can, and you're going to do it. Right.
Right.
But it's having someone who sees the vision with you and cares enough to push you, really. You know what I mean? Because that allows you to then face your stories. Because oftentimes, if we don't have to, we'll keep pushing them away. We'll keep stuffing them down because we don't want to deal with it. Right?
Right, right. I like that you use the word self-concept, because my first book that I published, I say first because the second one's getting ready to go, is about self-confidence. So every time you say self-concept, I like that, because my mind wants to go to confidence, but that's truly what it is. It's the concept of yourself. It's not even just confidence. Yeah. And I have a client that I just wanted to double her monthly rates from 500 to 1,000. I thought, gosh, just do that, please. And there's like a switch that just turns on when you do see your value. Like you said, you start to see the end result of what you provide and the transformation you can create. And she closes a $15,000 client, like boom, and she paid in full. So it's like, I'm like, whoa, I was just trying to get you to double, but hey, we'll take this leap.
That's awesome.
You know, so it's just inspire our audience. You don't have to take baby steps in business if you don't want to. It's all about the internal stuff, you know, literally getting really clear on that. I mean, I take people out of the corporate life for good and into the entrepreneur world, from employee to entrepreneur all the time. That's priceless. When my mentor did that to me, that was life-saving. I can't imagine ever being stuffed in a cubicle again, for the rest of my life. You know, every day I wake up grateful that I'm not having to be in an adult playpen. You know, it's really what it feels like. It's like looking at the clock every 5 minutes, hoping to get, a break. God forbid. Can you take off my leash now? Can I go to lunch? So.
It's amazing, because I remember when I was in corporate, it was like the day would drag. It would drag. Yes. Now, I only take calls 2 days a week. They go like this.
Yep.
And you're like, what? The day is over? You know what I mean? It happens so quickly. It's an amazing shift.
Yes.
Right? To be able to call your own shots, be able to really be your own boss. And when I say really be your own boss, I mean to be able to sell what you're here to sell, right? Be able to market in the way that you naturally show up in the world, and have people pay you big money for it, right?
Yes.
And then to help people change their lives.
Yes.
That's
super empowering.
It's very empowering. And it's one of the things too, also back on what we were talking about with the high-end programs. A lot of times my clients, again, will think to themselves, well, it doesn't take me a lot of time. And so I feel a little bit guilty for charging more. And I have to really hone in with that, or focus in with them on the fact that what you're doing is changing someone's life. What do you think that's worth? Right?
Yeah, they're still in the mindset of a W-2 employee trading dollars for hours. And it's not that at all. And plus behind the scenes, I tell my clients, you're in my head, you're renting space for 2 hours before I even get on the call with you, or late at night, we're creating a game plan. There's all the behind the scenes. It's not just the calls that you're on. It has nothing to do with that. It's a lot more going on, behind the scenes that people see. You get to charge for that, by all means, charge for it. That's your time. I, like you, only do 2 days of coaching a week. That I just like to get in that mindset of calls only, kind of brain set. And then other days are flow and marketing and admin and other things that, take up time. And I love that. I love the flexibility that, not every day looks the same. The same, like Groundhog's Day kind of cubicle mindset. Yeah. So no, it's been a very rewarding to be out of corporate since 2014. So it's been my third year. Yeah. Love it. Love it. And I was there before, and I knew I needed to get back. So let's talk a little bit about the consistency quick before we run out of time. How do people create the consistency? Even on myself, I know I have really high peak months, and then I'll go back down to kind of a more of a level, and then high peak, and then a level. I don't go to zero, but you definitely love those high peak months, and you'd like to see those be consistent. How do we create that consistency?
part of it is the self-concept, right? Because if you shift from believing, let's say, for example, you made $50,000 in corporate, right? If you get out of the mindset that all I need is $50,000 to get me through,
yeah,
and you start seeing yourself as someone who maybe needs $50,000 in a month to get you through,
right.
then it creates a new standard, right? It creates a new bar for you. And what I think most people don't do, and I didn't do this because I didn't know to do this in the beginning, and maybe I was afraid of it. Maybe there was some part of me that was afraid of it, right? Because I remember, you know, all kinds of family stuff that I had gotten, you know, about, you know, time, effort, worth, all that kind of stuff. You know, where people just kind of having the higher months is more like a nice to have. It is not a requirement. And until you make it a requirement, you will do this, right?
Yes.
You will. Making money is not difficult. I remember when I was struggling through all of my shit, it felt hard, right? But now it's like this, right? And it doesn't take a lot of marketing. It doesn't take a lot of, I don't do like cold calls or any of those kind of things. I don't do networking, any of that kind of stuff. But I have a standard of how much money I need to make. And I like to challenge myself also. So whatever the goal is, or let me rephrase, whatever my achievement is, then I like to collapse that. I then challenge myself to collapse that into like a week or something, or into a sale, because that keeps me going and growing. But if we start to get comfortable, if we start to get relaxed, if we start to think, well, I don't really need to make this amount of money, it'd just be nice to have, well, then guess what? It's not going to show up. Right? It's not going to happen. You have to really change how you see yourself and the expectations of how much money you need on a regular basis. Like the client I mentioned before about wanting the 20K cash a month, it's like, honey, you have to change. Like getting the massages can't be a nice to have. It has to be
right.
You schedule out in your week. So the money has to then show up for that, right? Because if whatever we focus on, whatever we decide we must have, that's what we bring in for ourselves. But if you're loosey-goosey about it, if you're kind of thinking, well, you know, I don't really need it, well, then guess what, right? You're not claiming it, right? You're not demanding or commanding for it to show up.
I love that. Money's going to take the day off and not come play with you. It's just like buying a car and you figure out how to pay for it later, or buying a home and you figure out how to pay for it later. It's because now that bar is higher, like you mentioned. Now I have this mortgage or this car payment. It's funny how the money always shows up now because there's this requirement. Yes. It's not just a standard of living. There's now this, I have these bills to pay. this is expected of me. I need to show up this way. Right. So it's creating a space for money to flow towards.
Absolutely.
Literally is how I see it. I love that. Yes. Good stuff. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So let's just dive right into the free gift you have for my audience today. For our audience.
So I have a free training, and it's literally walking you through how to command more fees. I'm showing my clients how to charge anywhere from $3,000 to $25,000. So if you're looking to raise your fees in that range, this will be a great training for you, because I walk you through how to do that, the marketing and the mindset behind that, so that you can actually attract clients who say yes on the spot, not the types who have to think about it and they need to deliberate and they have to ask their husband, their angel, or their dog, right? But that's essentially what the training is. And I think it's about maybe 45, 60 minutes, something like that. And no fluff. I like to just get straight to the point and tell you what you need.
I love that. Especially the angel part. I think I've heard them all too. I need to meditate on this for a while. I'm going to go to the mountains. I'll get back to you.
Right.
All right. I love that. That's good stuff. Very good education. Everybody wants to know how to make that shift. It is something you do grow into your prices, I believe, because you're growing as a person, as long as you're consistently growing. Yeah. And then you start to outgrow the prices that you had before. You're like, oh, no, I would never work for that price ever again. My first year, I felt like I was being pimped out as a prostitute. I'm like, why am I doing this? What was I thinking? And I just love to overgive, which is why I always bring my prices up too, so that I always feel comfortable in the giving space. Like, I'm good. I can give. I don't mind staying up reading this email and helping you through this, walk through the fire with you, because I charged enough for it. I can do this easily. It's balanced.
One of the things I like what you just said about that. For me, remember I had mentioned that I like to raise my fees, or I challenge myself to collapse my monthly income into a week or sale. I like doing that, not just for me, but also because it elevates my game which allows me to help my clients elevate their games. And I think the more that we grow as coaches and mentors, the less tolerant we are of our clients' excuses, right? Which can only help them grow much faster. So to me, it transcends, right? It's I'm raising myself so that I can also raise my clients up. And I think it's fun. You know, I think, like you said, when I think about what I used to charge and I was scared to charge it, I was like, are you kidding me? What I charge today? And the thing is, you know, where I'm at now was so scary to me. Even a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell? Like, where would I even think to find someone who can pay me at this level? But the people are all around you. When you step, one thing I've noticed, when you step up, your ideal client who's willing to pay you at that next level fee will step up. But
Absolutely.
you have to make that shift first. What most people do is they're looking for evidence first, right? They're thinking, okay, well, if I want to charge $25,000, I have to see the clients who are willing to pay me $25,000 first. It doesn't work that way. Inside of yourself, not only the external stuff we've talked about in terms of like identifying your gift, skills, and talents and creating a package and all that kind of stuff, because that's also what helps you know, distinguish you from everyone else in the marketplace. Not just your marketing, but also your offer, because your offer needs to be something that only you can deliver, right? Even if there are thousands of other business coaches or mindset coaches or whatever there are, right? So you have to be able to really own your space, right? And then that is when the people will show up. But if you're wobbly over it, if you're thinking, like I've seen this a lot in the marketplace too, where people will raise their fees and then they get a lot of people who say they can't afford it and then they lower their fees again.
Yes.
Right? That happens so often in this marketplace. And it's not cool, because what does that do to your confidence, right?
Right.
Because you have to develop the confidence first, and then it will be reflected back to you. So a lot of this is you giving yourself internal validation, also having that validation from a coach or a mentor to help you see that so you can sell it. You're not going to be able to sell it if you don't believe. If you're not sold, you can't sell anybody else, right?
Right.
So these are the kind of shifts that people really need to be aware of when they're out there trying to raise their fees. It's not just about adding a zero onto your current package, right? You got to really see the value in order for your clients to be able to see the value. Because if you don't see it, their objections are going to reflect back to you the insecurity that you feel around your offer at that price point.
Absolutely. I like that you said that, because it truly is, you have to believe it first, then the evidence shows up. But we always want to have it backwards. We want to see the evidence and then we'll believe.
Yes.
It's not that way at all. You know, it's kind of a trusting and faith process. I had the belief that no one could pay me up front for a discounted fee. I believed they can only do the month-to-month stuff. And as soon as I got rid of that, the next three, boom, 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 you're closing with paid in full, paid in full, paid in full. And it's more fun when they do that, to be honest. I give more. They're all in because they got more skin in the game. You're actually doing a favor to your client, charging them more and doing that route versus the low ticket where they're like, it's an option to show up or not. I'm not really going to give it my all. There's not as much skin in the game. Yeah. But in all honesty, you're not doing anybody any favors with that. You're not going to see the transformation. It truly does have to hurt a little, has to stretch a little, has to stretch them and you. And it's so much more fun. So much more fun. Everybody jumps in.
I always say that the fee is a part of their accountability, right? Because like you just said, if I can't tell you how many programs I've invested in that were low ticket and I just stopped. Yeah. I wasn't getting a result. It was too hard. You know what I mean? Yep. I just, whatever. It's a throwaway, right? But when someone has 5,000, 10,000, 20, 50, whatever invested, guess what? They're going to do the work, right? Yes. And they're going to get the results. And if they're struggling, they're going to ask for help. They're not going to hide, right? So it's definitely a part of the accountability. And I like what you said, because, you know, every time I raise my fees and I up my game, I notice immediately my clients are upping their games also, right? So I think it's brilliant. It's
true. Everyone's happier because we like results. That's what fuels us. We want to see people playing and winning. You know, no one wants to drag a client to the finish line.
You don't even want to drag them to the program, let alone dragging them to the finish line.
Like, I ain't got time for this. I can't want it more than you. And so we feel more confident because we're like, look at what we can accomplish with clients. You know, it's just a win-win. So I guess the overall message is to raise your prices, guys. You want to see people win and do everyone a favor. By all means, it does make a huge difference because it's life transformation. You cannot put a price tag on it. There's just so many things. I've had like one-off sessions with people that changed my whole life. I'm like, I would have given you $5,000 for that session. It was so powerful. So, it's just never ever discount how amazing you are. So it's a good stuff. Any other final thoughts you want to share before we wrap up, my dear? You're such a powerhouse. I'm loving this.
And I work with powerhouses.
what a great way for me to end my week. Yes.
Actually, I do have a final thought now that you said that, because one of the things I noticed about powerhouses, and I can sense this about you as well. One of the things that I've noticed is that really strong, independent, kind of do-it-yourself women struggle a lot. Not because we're not capable, but because we're not getting the right support. Because what I've noticed is oftentimes, it's not sometimes that we don't want the support, but sometimes we're very intimidating and people don't know how to say what needs to be said. And if you're experiencing that in the current coaching relationship you may have, or when you're looking for your next coach or mentor, you're going to have to maybe ask the person or tell the person straight up that you need them to be honest with you, right? Yeah. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I really want to say that, because I kind of feel like when it's the right coach or mentor, they'll know what to say. You know what I mean? Like, I just signed a client yesterday. She's a powerhouse. And I could just sense where her fear was and where she, you know what I mean? Like, I could just, like, this is a woman who's capable of amazing shit, right? She already is doing $75,000 a month, and we just created a new plan. Just signed her yesterday and already created a plan for her to do multiple six-figure months, right? But I don't know that she would have been able to get I don't know that she would have been able to get what she needed to get out of someone else's session, for example, because this is a woman who can come across as intimidating. Yeah. Right? And I know that I came across as intimidating to coaches and mentors. But a woman who can appear intimidating is often the woman who needs the most help and support, because there's no one, I shouldn't say there's no one, but there are very few people who know how to support her. So if you are someone who is very strong, very independent, very powerful, very successful, you have all the outer trappings of success, but internally you need support, you better make sure you find the kind of mentor who can give it to you straight, right? You better make sure you find the kind of mentor who is not afraid of you, who is not intimidated by you, and who will tell you what you need to hear so you can shift from where you are to the results that you know that you're capable of.
Absolutely. Yeah, I am a single mom. I've been doing it by myself for 10 years. You kind of give that edge of, I got this, I can do it all. You've got a lot of masculine energy, but feminine energy. Right. And you don't mean to be intimidating. Yeah. You think you're being the sweetest person on the planet, but they see strong woman. I don't even want to talk to her. I'm scared of her. And you're right. We do need someone that's like just a straight shooter. That's like, this is, because we'll get it. We're going to take action. We're going to take action anyway, with or without a mentor. We might be going 100 miles in the wrong direction, but we're still taking action. Yes, we need someone that's like, look, I get you. I know you're powerful, but this is what you need to do to take it to the next level. So true. Great advice. Yeah.
I think I was even sharing that, like thinking of myself when I was, struggling looking for a mentor, because that was where I was falling down. Like, I was looking at people and I was choosing people based on the result, but I wasn't choosing people who would, sometimes I thought that they would give it to me straight, but then in the relationship, I realized that there were things that I needed them to challenge me on that they didn't challenge me on, which is why I'm that way with my clients. I'm like, no, you're not going to fall down here. You're going to get back up. Right. Yeah. And that's what we need. So for anyone who's in that position looking for support, or if you're in a relationship right now, you're not getting the support that you need to start, saying what you need, because that can only help you and the people that you serve in the long run.
Absolutely. I do attract a lot of powerhouse women too. And they're tough. They're tough cookies. Yeah. And just when I think I'm being mean, they're like, more, we want some more. I'm like, I know. Push me again.
But that's how we excel, right?
Yes.
Like I much prefer someone say, Desiree, get it together. You know what I mean? Than someone tell me, oh, it's okay, but no, get it together, right? Like, come on now, you're way more capable, you're way more powerful than this, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, It's funny, even my trainer at the gym, she's a badass, get in your face, scream at you kind of girl. I'm like, yes, bring it. I love it. That's right. I'm lazy. Tell me how lazy I am.
It's so true.
I played sports as a younger girl. So naturally, I'm like used to that sports coaching mindset too. You want to play better. You want to be faster. You want to jump higher. So you kind of need
It's
someone
funny.
on that sideline.
I never played sport, but people would ask me, "Did you play sports?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, you definitely give off the impression. You've got that great energy, though. You're definitely in your zone of genius, 100%. Because I read energy too, so 100%. Your mom was dead on. It's not about telling. It's not about telling people what to do. You're bossy. You should do this.
I know.
I'm like, that was me too, growing up, telling the whole neighborhood what to do and where to go. Hey, now I get paid to do it. It's all good.
Yeah, right?
It's all good. Well, this has been super delightful, very inspiring, very motivating, and I'm sure our audience is going to get the same type of feedback. So I appreciate your time, and I'll let you go and enjoy your weekend as we wrap up our Friday afternoon. So big hugs to you, Desiree. I'm so happy you joined us today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here with you and your audience. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on our next episode.